Hello everyone, let's talk about note choices over the 1-7 chord in A blues. So here are the chord tones for your reference. Over the A7 chord, the 1-7, we are gonna use notes from the A modern blues scale. So A, B, C, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G. The third of the chord is kind of like the soul of the chord. It determines the major or minor tonality of the chord. And that's the note that we will have to pay a lot of attention to. So we have three options when we play the third. The first option is to simply play the flat 3, usually on a guitar or on a keyboard with a pitch wheel. You can bend it up a little bit. So you can bend it up by a quarter step. So it's not much. It's slightly off from flat 3. And if you notice, in A7, we have C sharp, right? If you play that chord tone in your chord, in your comping, then actually the flat 3 would clash with that C sharp, and that's fine. And in fact, we're deliberately looking for that sound in blues. Okay, so that's totally acceptable. In some blues comping pattern that we discussed earlier, we most of the time we don't actually have the third in the chord. So like in A7, we have something like this, right? So usually we don't have the third in there. But of course you can put it in there in some pattern. But we're sticking with this pattern for now. So technically we're not clashing with the third, but even though if for some reason you're playing chord like that, and the A7 chord here, and when you solo, you hit the flat 3 and that actually clashes with the C sharp, that's fine. That's the blues sound, okay? And to make it more bluesy, bend it up slightly by a quarter bend, okay? So I've recorded a loop here. Let's have some fun. So that's the A blues groove. All right, that's the flat 3 there. A, C, A. All right. Alright, so that's the first option we have. Alright, the second option, the flat 3 to 3 move. So it would give us a very nice traditional major blues sounding lick. Usually we do this by two ways. You can do that as a grace note. So real quick on the C, the flat 3, and then you just quickly hit the C sharp right after. Or you can slow it down a little bit. Alright, so I'll do it both ways, okay? So here's the same groove. That's the slow way. Let's do it the fast way. This is the grace note version. Alright, so that's the second option there. The third option, we can just play the third, okay? But personally, I think that's the most boring way to play it, but let's hear it. Alright, that's the groove. So that's the third way. So personally, I think the first option and the second option are much more interesting. Usually that's what you would hear anyway in a real blues tune. All right, cool. So we can also, besides the thirds, we can also add the major second. And jazz musicians or blues musicians, we call it the ninth sometimes. So that's the B note in this case, all right? And we can also add the F sharp note here. All right, and we'll hear this in the next video. All right. So a quick recap over the note choice over 1-7 chord. Mostly you play A blues, A modern blues, sorry, scale. When you hit flat 3, play flat 3 but bend up a little bit. You can also play flat 3 to 3 move. So I think these are two options. The most interesting, you can also, of course, just hit major third, okay? You can also at major 6 and major 9, so I'm not being very... okay, so this is major 2nd or major 9. This is major 6, alright, just to be clear, okay? So F major 6 and the major 9th. All right, cool. So in the next video, we're going to have an A7 lick to look at that kind of sums up what we've just learned, okay? See you there.